How can I make a good confession? Well, this is a very, very good question, and I like it because it actually, just the desire to know how to make a good confession is in fact the beginning point. When we're talking about confession, we do recognize that there is sin and that the sin has consequences, but we also must recognize that it's about relationship as well, that when we sin, we are breaking that relationship. And so the desire to actually restore that relationship, that desire to go back to God and be united with Him is itself a good starting point. In fact, I would say it's the best starting point because it's showing that you are doing this for the right reasons. You want to be in union with God and you want to get rid of anything that is keeping you from that union. Now, to actually go in and make a good confession, I would say the first step is prayer. If you ask God, what are my sins? And then truly listen, He will help you find where those sins are. And so I might make a recommendation. If you're thinking about going to confession and it's been a little while, take 10 minutes, 15 minutes, go to a church, sit down, pray, Lord, help me to know what is keeping me from union with you. And then just listen. Just sit there, listen. Because the Lord will put things upon your mind. He'll put things, people upon your heart. Pray through those things, and maybe it's, okay, for some reason the Lord has put my neighbor onto my heart and put a neighbor onto my mind. Well, why did the Lord put my neighbor onto my heart? Oh, that's right, I got really mad at them for X, Y, Z. And then, okay, then go through it. And then once you've gone through that, pray for every person that you've harmed, asking the Lord to help them. Pray for yourself that you might grow in the virtues necessary to avoid these sins in the future. And pray for true contrition. Sometimes you'll hear people talk about the gift of tears. It is a gift. It is a sorrow for sin. In fact, I would go and point to Matthew chapter 5 in the Beatitudes. Of the second Beatitudes, blessed are those who mourn, for they will be comforted. St. Augustine said that this mourning was true sorrow for sins, but that sorrow isn't just something we choose, but something that we go through, and it can be a gift from God. So to pray for the true contrition, pray for those that you've hurt, pray for the virtues necessary to sin no more, and then also pray for the great the great gift of sorrow for sins. The second thing, after you've done that, after you've had the initial prayer, asking God to reveal these things, I would then point you to a good examination of conscience. You can find these all over the place. You can find them online. I would recommend finding an examination of conscience that's proper to your state in life. So if you're a teenager, there's many examination of conscience that are made for teens. If you're a parent, there's many examination of conscience that are made for parents. You can just Google this online, find something like that. Just to find something that's proper to your state of life, that goes through and asks just questions. Have I been attending Mass? Have I been praying and making God first in my life? Have I been going through and fulfilling my various obligations and responsibilities? And to go through that. And then I might also recommend, if you're comfortable with this, writing it down, and then after you go to confession, rip that thing up or just destroy it, so that way the seal of confession is preserved. But just so that way when it comes time for the actual going to confession and you approach the priest and you go through these things, you can actually remember and keep track of how these sins are related, because oftentimes sins are related to each other. So that will be something to keep in mind, so that you can help to grow in, this action can help you to grow in sanctity, so that you might continue after confession, growing in virtue, growing in holiness. So to sum up, the two things that I think you should do, the two steps are, first, to pray, and then to make a good examination of conscience. You do those two things, you can make a good confession.